Hello!
Hi!
Welcome to another episode of
Film Critters.
Processes.
Another twofer.
Yeah, because both of them are good for nothing.
We watched some popcorn flicks, let's call it.
Yeah, let's we watched some mass media.
Yeah.
That's right, baby. The new Marvel and Frozen 2. No, we're not.
Some AAA releases here.
I don't know if you could call these triple. These are like AAA B list movies. These are like we need to put something on a screen that isn't showing Frozen 2.
2.5A. First we watched Dr. Sleep.
Yeah. Dr. Sleep, for those who don't know, is based on the Stephen King novel, which is a sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
And the movie is based on the Stephen King novel, which is a sequel to The Shining, based on the novel The Shining, and also a sequel to the movie.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know a lot about the history of those, The Shining the movie and the Shining the book are pretty diametrically opposed.
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, because it's where should we even start with this? It's
so.
You can't do a movie that is a sequel to The Shining and have it be based on a sequel to a different property, essentially, that has the same name.
Yeah.
But, like, similar ideas, because your movie is mostly in conversation with the movie, the other movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in conversation with the book.
The movie, like, the Shining movie existing is the biggest roadblock on, like, Dr. Sleep being good. Because, like, okay, first of all, let's really just start with, like, the first 30 minutes of the movie where you see Danny Torrance.
Yeah.
Who's the son character from The Shining, blah, blah, blah. He's still young, and he's still dealing with, it's, like, this really interesting sequence where he's, like, dealing with having The Shining and dealing with, like, it's this kind of allegorical content of, like, trauma.
Yeah. He's literally being haunted by the ghosts of the Overlook Hotel, despite having left the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. So he develops ways of dealing with this trauma, which I thought, like, imagery-wise and conceptually, like, that was all really interesting.
I really liked the metaphor of, like, boxes that are essentially in the maze where he killed his dad.
Yeah.
And that is where he just locks them deep down inside.
Yeah. Just lock away all that trauma.
Really good ham-fisted metaphor.
Yeah. So that shit really worked. There's so much. There's actually, like, a lot about Dr. Sleep that really worked for me.
No, I agree. The big thing I always say about that I dislike about the film is that, like, there's just very, very two different movies being made.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all this new stuff that's, like, very disconnected. But within the first 30 minutes, you see actors who are impersonating the original actors and actresses.
Yeah, the child actor, you know, it's a pretty straightforward job. I think the kid they got to play young Danny Torrance is pretty good.
Yeah, same here. And I also think that the Shelley Duvall impersonator that they got did a really good job.
She knocks it the fuck out of the park because instead of just casting someone who looks like her, they cast someone who, like, conveys the exact same emotional, like, not hysteria, but, like, the exact same sort of just, like, oh, this is a woman who, like, this is Shelley Duvall's character after The Shining.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I have some weird feelings about it as well, because, like, we can get into it once we get into, like, the sort of thematic content of the movie, because the movie is all about, like, sort of mental trauma and stuff like that, and just, like, all of this, like, mental and emotional trauma.
I feel like child predation is, like, a big theme of it as well, since the main antagonists literally prey on children.
Yeah.
So the main antagonists of the film are a bunch of steampunk motherfuckers
God.
traveling around in a goddamn circus using their various psychic hijink powers to find children who are very, very smart and have good psychic brains, and then just murdering them.
Yeah.
in order to do child soul whippets.
So that aspect of it is hilarious. I love that the antagonist in this movie is like a white woman with dreads, like a straight up like Burning Man,
and like an Amanda Palmer hat.
Yeah,
like some
like
fucking
a goofy little top
and
hat.
her whole bit is she's like, I'm what is it, Margaret the hat.
Yeah,
people call me that because I wear this hat all the time. And then like there's some implication that like the hat has magic powers in it or something. Because there's like the scene where like she gets knocked down at the grocery store and a woman tries to grab her hat and she goes like, don't touch it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely something going on there
with her hat, with her wacky with her Joanna Newsom fan,
fucking trilby ass hat.
Yeah, with her Hot Topic hat. I really liked the antagonist in this movie. I liked a lot of the imagery of what they did with her powers. Like the imagery and how it like got that stuff across. The stuff of her like astral projecting was like awesome, like really tonally well balanced and really well done. I liked also the main character girl, like the young girl.
Yeah. But I don't remember her name offhand.
No, it
doesn't really matter.
Abra is the name of the character.
Abra, okay.
And like I am obsessed with the fact that her room is plastered in Ruby posters, which means that Ruby is canon in the Shining universe.
Ruby takes place in the Shining universe.
Which means that Red versus Blue is canon in the Shining universe. Excuse me? Which means that Halo is canon.
Danny Torrance would play Halo.
Danny Torrance probably... Danny Torrance, fully grown adult man, would play Halo 5 Guardians for the Xbox One.
Speaking of, the one thing that I thought was weird in this movie, in terms of like intellectual property things, was just the scene of the Shelley Duvall impersonator and Danny Torrance watching Looney Tunes. And because like, I don't know if this was an editing mistake or something, but she like laughs at parts of the cartoons that like aren't jokes.
Oh, that's every movie that has like old cartoons in it.
Yeah.
Where they're like, it'll just be like Bugs Bunny shows up. Ha 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 ha.
And it's so weird because, yeah, I know, I hate it, but like in this one, for some reason, I think it stuck out just because it's like, that's like really weird. Yeah. Like it's like a panning shot, like setting up for a scene, and Shelley Duvall's just like, ha ha ha. What's wrong, Danny? Are you okay?
What's wrong, Danny? Are you loving
What's
the
wrong,
cartoons?
Doc? But yeah, Abra's an interesting. So here's part of the, like, this is what I mean. Like this stuff you're talking about with like the dream sequences and stuff. That was great, but I hated that it was all tied to like stupid bullshit lore.
Yeah,
because like that's not what I'm seeing. The Shining 2. I don't care what the fucking background story of the Overlook Hotel is.
Yeah.
The whole point of it being scary is that you don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, like and that's kind of the thing where there were all of these in the first half of the movie. There's all this confidence and there's all this new information being like introduced to the audience and like a lot of new characters, like an almost entire cast of new characters. And then it falls over itself to obsess over the original Shining. Yeah. And like recreate a bunch of scenes. And there's like the scene where Danny is like applying for some job and it's shot exactly the same way as Kubrick shot his dad applying for the Overlook Hotel position. And just like this ham-fisted shit. Like the scene where they're fighting on the staircase in the exact same way.
Yeah. The one that I noticed was like the scene when we're at the carnival of vampires, whatever, and they're like, "Where's the hat?" And they're like, "Oh, she's on the watchtower." And he goes over to the like the tour bus that they're hanging out on, and she's just listening to one of the songs from the Overlook Hotel, but they're like in the middle of the fucking woods, and I'm like, "What?" Like, this is just here for like people in the audience to like, ooh, 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 ooh. I know that song. And but it's like, why would she be listening to it? Why does it sound like it's like being played off of an old phonograph when she's listening to it on the radio? It's not a like, this isn't like me because it's like a nitpicky thing, but it doesn't add anything to like the themes. It doesn't add anything to the vibe of the scene. It's the fact that you can tell that it's just there because they're like, we need to have her listening to a song. Oh, The Shining, the song.
the Shining song, TM.
TM. And I mean the weird like old waltz that's like kind of like on a loop. The like wah, 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 wah. Not the classic Shining Wendy Carlos track.
Okay.
No, she's listening to the Ballroom Waltz one, which is why it sticks out so much, because it's like, why would she be listening to this? Like, they're not, the Overlook Hotel, like, isn't in the narrative yet.
Right, yeah.
And she doesn't, like, there's no point where it pays off, like, she has a connection. Like, she doesn't know what the Overlook Hotel is when they get to it. She's like, what the fuck? Why did you drive out to this abandoned-ass hotel?
What's this gross building?
Yeah.
Ew. With regard to Danny Torrance's character, I liked a lot of what they did with him. I thought it was, like, really heartfelt. Like, the AA meetings and shit were, like, really cool to watch. It was just, like, really touching. And I understand the necessity to, like, have the last act that's, like, him, in big quotes, facing his trauma or whatever.
Literally talking with somebody doing a Jack Nicholson impression.
Which, yeah, but, like, gonna give that actor credit. Like, Jack Nicholson is a hard one to do, or at least a hard performance to top. But like that scene was interesting and also really weird.
This is like part of the reason why I like the contrast of it is that scene. There's like a scene where Danny Torrance like goes and it basically replays the like scene when Jack Torrance in the original is like basically like he poured a drink and he's like, it's on us, and then he's like, you're the caretaker, and it's like that, but it's like Danny and Jack Torrance is now the bartender on the other side. And Danny is like trying to be like, hey dad, and he's just like, I don't know who you're talking about, like I'm just the bartender. And he's like, you've always been the bartender, haven't you? And he's like, what can I do for you? Like it's very like a weird tense scene that plays out similarly, but it's like Danny resisting it, and it definitely ties into the ideas of like Danny has this like fear of becoming his father, like literally a fear. And so here's the scene where he's replaying the moment where his father like decided to kill him and his mother, and he's basically having to make the choice to become his father or not. And then but then like everything else in the movie going in either direction doesn't really do that. doesn't really build up to that where I'm like, is that his motivation? He has the one scene where he's like, I'm an alcoholic because my dad was, and then like that's it.
No, it's not really expounded on.
Like he has interesting like motivations, but like that specific one is like absent from the film up until that scene.
So it kind of just slaps you in the face with it.
And then it doesn't explain like what's his dynamic with Abra then, like why. There's a lot of pieces that, because they're trying to stitch together essentially two different narratives of the same story,
right,
they have to like kind of just like jump back and forth between which one they're doing.
Which you were telling me there was some like weird discord with that, where like there's a boiler room.
Yes, so there's like a really big point. There's they make a big deal of the boiler room in this one, and it's because the boiler room is a big deal in The Shining, the book, but was cut completely from the movie. Like they shot scenes involving the boiler room, but then they just cut it. So the thing that happens with Danny at the end where he dies in the boiler room is what happens to Jack at the end of The Shining in the book.
Right.
Because Jack in the book is like basically the Stephen King self-insert, which is partially why he hates the movie so much. Because in the book it's supposed to be this like guy who's struggling with alcoholism and like not wanting to be an abuser, being driven mad by like ghosts.
Right.
So he sacrifices himself and blows himself up in the boiler room, which is also where he like finds the scrapbook that kind of like opens him up to being influenced by the ghosts. And then the movie just like, that's stupid. This was built on an ancient Indian burial ground, and it's about the cycles of abuse. And so the movie tries to just do both. It tries to both have the like heroic boiler room sacrifice scene, and also like, but also it's about the cycles of abuse, but also because it's based on the Stephen King one, it's not really metaphorical ghosts. It's just actual ghosts.
So, and I think like the big way that kind of comes across to me, like, or like the sort of disconnect between those two is like, you have all these kind of interesting new ideas that are like decent, and then you go back to obsess over the original Shining movie, which was, by all accounts, a bitch to work on because it was a Kubrick film.
Yeah.
And, like, was a permanently damaging project for, like, basically everybody who worked on it, including Shelley Duvall.
Particularly Shelley Duvall.
In particular, who, like, I just hope they cut her a check when they made this movie. Like, cut Shelley Duvall a fucking check. She deserves it. Like, you know, we all saw the Dr. Phil special that she was on, and she was getting taken advantage of, and, you know, just cut her a fucking check.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's and that's, I remember, like, after you saw it, you told me, it's like, the biggest problem is that it wants to engage with the legacy of The Shining, but it wants to engage with the legacy of The Shining in the sense of, like, it's me, The Shining too. It wants some of that prestige, but it doesn't really want to engage with, like, the legacy of The Shining and, like, what it means within, like, larger pop culture and, like, you know, what does it mean for the fact that, like, Shelley Duvall's character, like, was essentially, like, her actual personhood was also essentially, like, destroyed for the sake of that movie, and her career was essentially destroyed for performance that is, like, kind of like one of the most memorable performances in horror of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible performance.
Yeah, and there's definitely ways in which that's left open. I like the sequence where Danny is talking about how he had to learn to essentially deal with, like, the fact that as people get closer to death, their faces become covered in black flies to him, and so the first person he experienced that with is his mother, and so he was not able to look at her as she was dying, and she was able to recognize that he couldn't even look at her.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a, like,
that's interesting.
Powerful metaphor if you tie it into, like, the way in which the movie...
Yeah, you know?
But again, it's because they wanted, you know, in the interviews, they're like, well, we also wanted we wanted Stephen King to be happy with this movie. And it's like, man, fuck Stephen King. No, actually, I just read It, and it made me sad that we have not gotten a really good adaptation of It, because there's a lot of really good, like, good meaty stuff in there, but it absolutely needs, like, it needs somebody who's willing to do a Kubrick thing of just, like, I'm gonna take the things from this that are, like, cool, and I'm gonna, like, flush all your stupid lore bullshit down the toilet.
that makes sense. King seems like that type of writer to me, I think.
Yeah, and so it's like it's less of a fuck King, and it's more of a, like, oh, there's this, like, Stephen King worship, but it's kind of based more on the fact that he's written a lot of stories that have made very good horror films, and the books they're pulp horror novels.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, it has a lot of great symbolism, and, you know, it has, like, a lot of great, like, imagery that has, like, been replicated on the TV screen and, like, the movie screen. And it also has, as a major plot point, a galactic space turtle that puked up the universe.
Great. Put that in the movie.
Why wasn't it in the movie? I don't know why they took that out of the film. There's a part in the book where Pennywise the clown is taunting the main character Bill, and he's like, the turtle died. That's why you have writer's block.
What the fuck?
I'm dead serious.
Yeah, it has a lot of wild shit in the book.
He was on a lot of inspiration. He was on a lot of inspiration juice.
A lot of that old-fashioned 80s inspiration. You know, well, yeah, I think that, like, it's kind of split between this King worship and this Kubrick worship, that, like, The Shining is, like, an interesting artifact. The movie, I should say, is, like, an interesting artifact. And I can hear people being like, well, if you don't want to see The Shining stuff, why did you go see The Shining sequel? And it's kind of just like, well, The Shining, like, listen, bud.
Well, because I had the opportunity to.
Listen, you hypothetical piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because I think it, like, if the movie wanted to include that imagery, it would have. I think it should have more meatily reckoned with, like, the legacy of the actual movie in relation to, like, the thematic content. You know, because it's not all sunshine and roses in the legacy of that movie.
Yeah, no, and it's like, I'm gonna like go back to this, like, thing I like when I saw it. I was like, I think would have been, like, a cool way to adapt it and, like, touch on both the legacy of the movie and the book. Would have been to have The Shining the movie exist in the universe of this, And I was like, like the idea that like maybe Danny Torrance's story was like a huge like, because it doesn't make sense that people like don't really know who he is or know about his history when I imagine like, oh, caretaker goes crazy and like murders like the groundskeeper and then tries to kill his wife and kid at the hotel where that happened last time too. People are going to know about that. Yeah. Like, that's a pretty big story.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
And so, like, having it be like, Danny Torrance is, like, is washed up, but he's, like, dealing with the damage of, like, that became a huge story, and he has to constantly live in the shadow of it, but it's something that happened when he was a kid, so he's like, I don't, like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
While also grappling with, like, all the same sort of themes and plot points they have in the book. Basically, I just want... I realized as I was describing this that I was describing Dark Places by Gillian Flynn.
So just go read and watch Dark Places.
You don't need to watch Dark Places. It's like they just took the book and they're like, all right, that scene, we're gonna film it. And then like no adaptation. Like there's no adaptation. It's shooting the book like a script.
Okay. Well, that's something.
Book's really good though. You should read it.
Okay. Yeah, I've been meaning to read more Gillian Flynn. Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about Dr. Sleep is that like, as much as all the new stuff was like pretty interesting, including the like whippet canister,
the child soul whippet canister.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite aspects of the movie. It felt really weird when they all got shot to death by Danny Torrance.
Yeah.
Didn't that feel kind of weird?
That felt like that whole sequence felt like a scene from like the Twilight movie.
Yeah, right?
Like just absolute cartoon gunfire. Like we're going to just shoot a bunch of people in the middle of the woods and then they're going to turn into like screaming skeleton ghosts.
Yeah. It's so bizarre. It's like, oh, here's all this like sort of, oh, we there's this child psychic now and I'm a psychic and everything is so important. Anyway, let's just go have a shootout.
Let's just have a shootout, yeah.
Let's just be Breaking Bad.
Let's set this huge trap for these people, and then the conclusion of that trap is we just shoot them with guns.
Yeah.
And then it like ends on like the Danny Torrance's friend shooting himself because one of the characters is established to have the ability to... One of the few characters whose actual power is established is that she can push people to do things.
Yeah.
And so while she's dying, he gets too close to her and she says, shoot yourself, and then he does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fucking stupid. And it's just like, oh, okay, that character's use in the story was done, so we gotta kill him.
Yeah. It's like a good character, too.
Speaking of, I really wish the movie was more about the weird, like, hard candy psychic Lolita girl.
Yeah, she was so interesting.
She was such an interesting character type, and it's like, I thought she was going to be one of the main characters, and then she joins it, and then I'm just like, she's just here.
Yeah, she's...
like, why is she here? And then you get to that, she's like, oh, she's here because that's how they killed that other character. But she has no function in the story beyond that.
Yeah, like, there should have been more. There just should have been, I think she should have made it to the end, and, like, there should have been just, like, a lot of, like... showdowns that show how difficult it is, like how trauma makes it hard to interact with other people, like, and how for example,
and how like trauma changes the way you like respond to things, and because like that's the thing about that character that's like really interesting is that it's very obvious from her character that like this is a person who has a personal investment in like killing pedophiles, and so it's like, oh, why, like, you have this implication, like, she's also a trauma survivor, but she has gone in, like, an extremely unhealthy way of coping with that.
Right.
You know, in the way in which that mirrors, like, Danny Torrance's, like, self-destructive versus her, like, outwardly destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Abra's, like, implicit sort of, childhood trauma of, like, having to repress the stuff that's a side of her and, like, smart kid syndrome. Yeah. She has fucking gifted kid syndrome.
Yeah, that's her.
You said don't fight the big old vampire, but I'm gonna fight her anyway. I have a purple wig that I'll put on. She'll never recognize me.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't end up really liking Ibra's character. I liked the performance, and at the same time, like, God, what a psychopath! Just, hey, can you kill all these dudes? Can you just? I think they might be dangerous. Can you just kill them for me,
Danny?
Please.
I know that actress is good because the sequence when Danny Torrance takes over her body.
Yeah.
Such a transformation of it. Like I was like, oh, this actress is really good. Her character just sucks.
Yeah, her character is just not interesting. Yeah. I
love what non-entities her like parents are, and then like when her dad gets killed, like my first thought was literally not like, oh, how sad. It was like, wait, what about her? Oh yeah, her mom's out of town.
Yeah. A lot of underdeveloped parts.
There's this half-baked movie. I feel like if it was cooked over a little more, you probably would have gotten some really interesting stuff out of it.
And who gives a fuck about The Shining? Fuck The Shining.
Yeah.
Fuck Kubrick. No one cares.
Fuck King.
Fuck King.
Fuck the guy who made this movie. I think he's like one of the Insidious dudes.
Oh really?
Yeah, or something. He was like where I looked him up, and he's like an established director, but it's like most of his stuff is like it's probably.
Well,
I hated the sequence where they're explaining the Dr. Sleep name, where he's just like, oh, he's like, let me get a doctor. He's like, no, you are a doctor who puts me to sleep for permanently. I'm gonna call you Dr. Sleep, because that's the name of the movie.
Dr. Sleepington's bedtime man.
And he's just, and like, Danny Torrance just immediately, it's like, hell yeah, my new job is I'm just gonna watch patients die. At a job where my job is to take care of patients, and I assume if you're just spending years always hanging out in the room of a patient who dies, someone's gonna ask questions.
It's okay. It's his doctor work that he does as a doctor.
Mike Flanagan is who I was thinking of, who did Hush, which I did really like.
Hush rules.
Hush fucking rules. He did he also did Gerald's Game, which is another Stephen King adaptation from like a few years back.
Interesting.
But he also did the movie that's about the haunted Ouija board and Oculus.
Oculus is supposedly good.
He also worked on the Haunting of Hill House Netflix series.
Okay, that was dog shit.
Yeah, so he's a real like hit and miss director. That's why I was like, I feel like he could have made a better film out of this because he has shown the ability to make good movies. Hush is really good.
Hush is incredible. I would love to see him do more thrillers. I think that's maybe something he's a little stronger on. But I mean, Oculus.
His visual direction skills are really good in this.
Yeah. No,
he's got a good visual eye. It's just gotta have the right movie, I guess.
Gotta work on the material. Yeah, but anyway, I don't know. What would you rather have spent your
$15 on? Maybe like, is there a Criterion Collection release of the original Shining? I know fuck The Shining, but also like The Shining's one of my favorite movies.
I mean, there's probably...
Oh, you know what? If there was like a limited film run of Room 237, that weird documentary about how The Shining is about how Kubrick faked the moon landing, I would go see that.
Fuck yeah, that sounds great.
By the way, did you know that Kubrick faked the moon landing? It's really...
And Epstein didn't kill himself? That's so weird.
It's so weird. Did you know that Kubrick was murdered because he was making Eyes Wide Shut, which is about Jeffrey Epstein?
Oh shit! The conspiracy is so deep.
That's one I believe. Not that it's necessarily exactly about Epstein, but that like the movie is definitely about him like knowing actual sex crime rings that were being committed by the rich.
Oh, I believe that.
And I do believe that he was murdered for it.
Wait, how did he die?
Before 2 months before the movie was released, so that the studio would have an excuse to recut it and remove 20 minutes of footage that nobody has ever seen.
Is that real?
That's real. That's fact.
Okay.
Nobody knows. The biggest theory about what those 20 minutes contain is that allegedly there was supposed to be a character in the film who was very clearly Bill Clinton. That character is not in the movie anymore.
Oopsie.
Coincidentally, again, they re-edited it despite Kubrick having final edit say, but then he died, so he can't say anything.
That's interesting.
You know, we're going to go full conspiracy brain. Another fun fact, he hired a journalist commonly associated with conspiracies because he's always the first to report very interesting, like very major stories. For example, recently, He was the first person to break the story about Jeffrey Epstein's untimely death.
Okay.
And also Jeffrey
Wait, who?
Epstein's, I forget his name offhand. He's just some like Washington Post journalist.
Okay.
But it's just one of those things where it's like he for some reason, he's always the one who breaks these like big stories.
Yeah.
So Kubrick hired him on to like be a consultant for this movie about about the powerful and elite doing things such as having certain reporters break certain stories so that they can set the narrative. Anyway, when Kubrick died, guess who broke the story?
Oh. Okay. Alrighty.
It's one of those things where I'd heard it before and I was like, that's not true. Like he was just an old piece of shit and he died. That's fine. And then like the more I like have like learned about like the weird circumstances surrounding it, I'm like, I mean,
being an artist is dangerous.
I mean, I love how half the time, occasionally on these things, our show just turns into like we're gonna Epstein pill you now. We're gonna blue pill you on class politics.
What is the truth? Yeah, don't turn us into Alex Jones. We don't.
Yeah, no, we're it's
we
it's
only
just
know
fun.
as much as we know what we're talking about as much as you do.
Yeah,
but
which is what they want us to know.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I would rather have spent my money on, I don't know, like a portable DVD player TV from Goodwill. So I can watch.
Those are pretty dope.
Yeah, just watch The Shining on my like 5-inch screen.
As Kubrick intended.
As Kubrick intended. Thank you.
My bootleg of what, The Irishman. That's the new one that everyone's like, you gotta watch it on a big screen.
God, whatever.
I'm gonna watch it.
I don't know what it's about. I don't know anything about it.
I think Jimmy Hoffa's in it.
Okay.
Like cool. not like as a person, like not alive. Like I mean, I think he's a character in the film.
They put his fucking corpse in it?
Yeah.
Cool.
The CGI is amazing now. It's like the Tupac hologram, but it's Jimmy Hoffa.
Damn. Okay. Okay, Wig. What would you not rather have spent your money on?
I am glad I didn't spend my $12 on a full screen copy of really any Kubrick movie. Because I've done that like once before when I was in high school, and I can't remember which one it was. It might have been The Shining. And I just remember being like, wow, pan and scan makes this movie look fucking terrible. You don't like the tracking? You don't like that? The amount of tracking you have to do because Kubrick shots are literally filled with information.
It's like in 24:3 aspect ratio or something. It's like, and they have to like fucking.
It looks like a Jason Bourne movie.
Just setting it up in the theater so that like the camera actually physically has to pan back and forth. Well, that's fun. I would rather not have spent it to see a psychic. Because I already know what's in my future.
There's the little hut like with the neon sign like psychic lady that's in that one parking lot for some reason near the Space Needle.
Oh yeah. We should go to her.
I would love to. She's probably really expensive because she's definitely there for tourists.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But we should.
Maybe,
I think we should do it.
Yeah. Let's
Ask her what our next episode should be about.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's pay $60 and find out what our next episode's gonna be.
She's just gonna say The Irishman.
And I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna be like, no. And she's like, all right.
Fuck
fine.
you.
She's like, fine. Frozen 2.
God fucking damn it! I hate movies. Movies
Speaking
are so
of
bad.
movies we hate.
Oh yeah. Charlie
and his Angels.
Charles and the Angels.
Did you know
Uh-huh.
that what if Charlie she could be a woman the whole time and we wouldn't even know because it's just a voice box.
It's just a voice box.
It would be, the glass ceiling that sucks.
Gonna rappel through the glass ceiling.
That means you're going down. That's the opposite direction.
Listen, gotta make progress. Gotta make some eggs to
Ladies,
make an omelet.
have you seen Broad City? Women, you know what it's like when men be taking credit for your work.
So I loved it. Loved the movie.
Let's start at the top.
Okay.
By which I mean the writer, director, and one of the stars, Elizabeth Banks.
Sure.
I was on the fence about seeing this. The thing that made me want to see this was like some interview she gave where she was just like, oh, people aren't seeing my movie, and it was the most cynical marketing move ever. She was like, this movie's bombing because men hate women. And I remember telling you, every person I told this to just went, well, yeah, but that's not why the movie's bombing. And that made me want.
Men do hate women.
Men do hate women, but that's not why the movie's bombing. It's because it's a reboot of an 80s TV show that nobody remembers.
Yeah.
And like a movie series from the 2000s that is like not well remembered.
I think I watched Charlie's Angels, like the movie.
Yeah.
In the aughts or something like that, and I don't remember it. But I mean, like, it's a fun, like, it's like a fun palette of things, like the aughts shit. It's a McG movie, is why. McG being like that director who just made like fucking garbage like action movies, and also my favorite movie of all time, Stay Alive. Oh, Stay Alive, which Shay has a full-size poster.
Yeah, I have like an actual full-size poster that has lasted me like a decade. It's my favorite movie.
The two posters Jay has are the Snowman and Stay Alive.
Specifically the Mr. Police, You Could Have Saved Her, I Gave You All the Clues poster, and a Stay Alive poster. My 2 movie posters that are... Do I have literally any other movie shit in this room?
See, I have a Lady Vengeance poster. Try watching some real movies.
Yeah, I did. Stay Alive.
Stay Alive is a very real movie.
But like, yeah, it's like the original Charlie. Like, if you're gonna remake the Charlie's Angels in that way, it's like you're gonna have to deal with the fact that like those kinds of blockbuster movies don't exist unless you have a superhero in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a Star Wars in them.
Yeah, definitely.
But basically, what that told me is like, oh, this movie. It's gonna be shit. I was like, if you're pulling that card, this movie has to be terrible.
And was it, Jay? Was it shit?
Yeah. It was like, I don't. Okay, here's the thing. When I say it was better than I expected, that is not the movie. When I say it is better than expected, I mean Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Tried her damnedest to pull this movie up.
Well, I think that there's like a lot of complicated things happening here, where I think that there's a lot of like tone deafness on the part of the creators of this movie, where like, oh, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a Charlie's Angel. Oh, isn't that so fucking funny? I forgot
about that fucking line.
Which, yeah, we can talk about it later, but like, there's the ending of this movie is so.
No, we can talk about it now.
Let's talk about it.
The best way to summarize this movie is that at the end, there's just a montage of... So the setup of the film is that there's the 2 angels and the third... Well, it's a whole organization, but there's the 2 angels that are the auxiliaries of the past 3 angels.
Yeah.
And the third angel is like a new recruit, and she's the brainy one. She's the hacker one. Mm-hmm. The other 2 angels are the bimbo jock and... I guess the leaderish one? I don't know what her gimmick is, that she's good at it. It's like, yeah,
the 2 characters who aren't the newcomers to the Angels is like, one of them is like very serious, and the other one, it's like more about their personality types than it is about their abilities, I guess. Like,
yeah,
the serious, good at her job, and then like the playful sort of like, haha, I'm so silly,
yeah.
Like Kristen Stewart character.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's the archetype of like the Charlie's Angels series, is like, because I'm pretty sure Cameron Diaz was the Kristen Stewart in the original. Mm-hmm. I want to say, who was the other person who wasn't Lucy Liu in the original Charlie's Angels?
It was, oh god, I just had it up. Drew Barrymore.
Okay, because I'm trying to remember which one was which. Maybe Drew Barrymore then was the bimbo one. Because she had kind of a baby face thing going at the time.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
And then I want to say Cameron Diaz was the serious one, and then Lucy Liu was like the hacker, like the tech guy one.
Yeah, well, like, you keep saying bimbo, and I think that's like technically a correct way to put it, but I would not call Kristen Stewart's character a bimbo.
She's like the girl version of a himbo.
Yeah, no, exactly, precisely.
She's a butch bow.
Here's the thing, and here's what we'll kind of loop back to the ending of the movie, but like, the thing that made me want to watch the movie was a bunch of like compilation interview footage of Kristen Stewart being an absolute fuckboy and flirting with Naomi Scott, who is the
newcomer one.
Who's the newcomer one in the movie? Like they're flirting in like every interview, and it's like really, it's just it's so sweet, and like that energy makes it into the movie like a little bit.
There's that one shot. So we went and saw this with our friend Mia, who's been on the podcast, friend of the podcast, Mia,
friend of the show.
Discovered that you can recline your seats at the AMC we went to, and was just fully horizontal watching this movie.
We all were. We were all having.
We were all horizontal.
We were having a time. Our theater was empty for the first like 10 minutes or something like that, and then I looked behind us and I was like, "Oh shit, there's a couple. Everybody, shut the fuck up."
And then we just kind of continued to be because like the thing is they were also sitting way in the back, and we were like 3/4 down the way, so we're like, okay, we can like talk. We just can't be like yelling and hollering like we were doing before.
And throwing our popcorn at the screen and smacking the ushers around. Just like, hey, go get me something.
Lighting up cigarettes. The ending credit sequence is like training montage and like literal girl cameos, just cameos of girls.
Yeah.
Like at first, the first one is like one of the original Charlie's Angels. So you're like, oh, it's gonna show like she's gonna have Cameron Diaz come in. She's gonna have Lucy Liu come in.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, just other women. Betty from Riverdale is here.
Yeah. Why not?
Like an Olympic skater is there as well.
Yeah. Kate
McKinnon is there. And then our first little favorite, we have a cameo appearance of Laverne Cox, immediately followed by a cameo appearance of Ronda Rousey.
So that moment was very like, Laverne Cox showed up and I was like, I could be an angel? Oh my God, am I a Charlie's Angel? And then Ronda Rousey showed up and I was like, I don't think I want to be an angel. I think I'll pass on being an angel.
Well, she could be an angel, but she's in a different angels division.
Yeah, she's.
I just don't think Ronda Rousey's like. I just don't think it's fair that she gets to be an angel, considering the fact that the slope of her bones or whatever the fuck Ronda Rousey said in that interview.
Oh God. Yeah, I just just all of this.
And that was in the same scene where they mentioned the Ruth Bader Ginsburg was an angel. Stupid fucking movie. But
Elizabeth Warren is an angel, everybody.
But, Warren, literally, this movie is Warren 2020. As if you distilled Warren 2020 with like, what do the Kamala Harris stands call themselves?
Oh,
Harris
God.
Heads. Hairbrains. I don't know.
Chameleons.
No, it's like K Squad. I'm dead. K-Hive. It's K-Hive.
K-Hive?
K-Hive.
Wow, that's so trendy.
It's like if you distilled K-Hive, whatever Warren calls themselves, and like that video of the Pete Buttigieg doing the High Hope stance.
Oh, yeah.
If you distilled that into a juice and injected Elizabeth Banks with that and let her direct a movie, this is what you get. But we did get a scene of the new Charlie Angel doing shots and getting ready to get her angel mark, which, by the way, for a feminist movie, really weird to have women getting like tattoos saying that they belong to Charlie.
Who's this fucking Charlie?
But as they sit her in the chair, Kristen Stewart, like, this was definitely the point of the movie where like Kristen Stewart, the actress, was like, I'm gonna fuck this person, because she just like leans on her arm and does the smallest little like pivot, and Mia sitting next to me just goes, what is this? what is the vibe of this scene?
The vibes,
because it doesn't come off like they're getting her ready to like get her tattoo. It comes off like they're getting ready to fuck her.
Which is great. Like, if only the movie was more like that.
If the movie should have just been directed by Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, I
maybe
think so.
Even written by her, because I feel like she improved a lot of like the best moments of her character.
Yeah.
There's like a bit where she steals this like guy's key during a fight, and she's like, by the way, I was just a distraction to get your key later, and just run down the hall. And a very obvious Kristen Stewart second of the moment just goes, yeah! Just like the most like child in a GameStop yell.
There's like a part where she literally goes, see ya!
Yeah.
Which is like great, glorious. Like, That's the thing about this movie. Like, if you want to watch Kristen Stewart just like be on a playground, like watch it. Yeah. Absolutely, because that like you'll get that in spades.
And whenever she's not on screen, fast forward. Here's the plot: Elon Musk, and there's like 5 betrayals, and Patrick Stewart. Spoiler alert: is the bad guy.
Yeah. Who cares?
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a fucking shit?
It's all like very bad action movie plot with not a lot of action scenes that are very well done.
No.
Really some of the like lowest energy action scenes I've ever seen.
A couple shots where I'm like, okay, you guys are on near the raid shit, and then like it kind of falls apart. And like
here's Kristen Stewart and a bunch of foam rocks.
Yeah. In a grinder, and a guy dies in the grinder.
That was something that was weird. Is that Charlie's Angels is like the Cheesecake Factory action movie series kind of thing, and like it's fine. I think it's fine to take that into like a weird pop feminist direction. I don't think the way it was done was well at all.
No,
I think you definitely could. I think there's like they're female super spies. That's like that's it. That's an easy one.
It's an easy sell.
But the weird thing on that was that then contrasting that with like kind of upsetting violence.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of a spy movie thing, though.
But they have an Alexa that gives you strokes. They have an Alexa that destroys, that literally gives you a brain hemorrhage.
They call it brain seizures in the movie, which is so, like, what?
And they have, like, a funny bit where she's like, do you think you'll be okay? And, like, yeah, he looked great. And then it cuts to the police putting, like, this is a dead person bag over his head.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff was tonally kind of weird. I don't know. I kind of feel that I feel like a little bit of a sort of like wink wink nudge nudge like men are disposable kind of thing that I like kind of vibe with, I guess, but like that's also not it's like hey, girl power, I love that. And also that's not very prudent or reliable.
Yeah, it's also weird cuz it's like inconsistently applied in the movie.
Yeah.
Because in the opening scene, there's the whole thing where they're all like, they just zip tie all the bodyguards, and we're like, oh yeah, because it's a PG-13 action movie, so like they can't kill people. And then they kill people, and then sometimes they don't kill people. It's very like weird. Like it feels
I would
like
attribute it to just being a fucking scattershot ass movie.
Yeah, I know. It's a very weird tonal inconsistency, and I fucking hate the modern film writing of like people doing like when she impales them, he's like, I think he got the point. Oh, is that an impalement thing? Is that because you impaled him on the eye? Are you trying to do a joke to impress this nerd? Oh my god, that's so should I go now? I can go now.
That type of writing is so annoying. The worst scene in the movie to me was when they're like, oh yeah, she like the new angel give this like impassioned speech where she's like, I want to come with you and I want to be part of the Charlie's Angels and blah 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 blah, and it's like there's like this music and it's like swelling, and then like the next like full fucking minute of the movie is them just being like, yeah, we were gonna invite you. That's
do you want the iPad? I was gonna give you the iPad. Do you want the iPad now?
Do you want the iPad now or later?
Oh, should I go? I mean, like we gave you the bracelet, right? Like did you get? I gave her the bracelet. Yeah, it's okay, cool. I hate that writing because it's not improv writing.
Yeah,
it's written to sound like improv, but it is obviously scripted.
and it's so like, for the sake of a joke that isn't funny, you have kind of eroded the like relationship between all of these different characters and just made it like sound super inconsistent and shitty. Like better.
I think there isn't. Yeah, no, it's exactly that, because it's like that's the kind of stuff that like we will do in my house as a bit where we're just like antagonizing each other. But the thing is, when you have characters on a screen, they're not doing a bit when they do that. That's just them interacting.
Yeah, and it like. We do bits to each other, but not after like impassioned speeches and pleas. Like that's just being
not after we've murdered somebody.
Yeah. Like we try to, in real life, people try to hear each other out. At least if they're friends. In theory, I don't fucking know. Maybe Elizabeth Banks is just like that to her friends. What did we think of the outfit? Outfits.
The outfits. Putting Kristen Stewart in like the horse jersey boy outfit and having her spank her own ass.
Inspired. Oscar moment.
The outfits in this film were very good.
Yeah. No.
That is what I mean about like, it's not like I was a pleasant surprise. It's that I expected everything to be like smoothed over and like not too interesting.
Yeah.
But there were some things that were interesting. They just weren't things that make a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were things that you would notice in a good movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel really just tired by every movie just being about, like, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And like, AI and, like, all this
They gave him
shit.
2 hoodies, too, which was the weirdest choice. Like,
That's not weird. He would wear 2 hoodies.
It felt like they were trying to be like, we can't do... If we put him in a hoodie, it's going to look like every other movie where it's like, here's the Mark Wahlberg. Here's the Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk character. So we'll put him in 2 hoodies. And now it's different. Now he looks like a Watchdog character.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, like, just, I don't know. Child's Play had the same issue. Just every movie being about this boring ass shit that I don't care about, and just being filled with like production design of like these pristine office buildings that look really expensive.
Like WeWork ass. Just
yeah.
Like, it's, if you want to make movies about the tech industry being evil, fucking look up what the tech industry does. You don't need to be like, oh, the tech industry is making an Alexa, but it's actually an evil bomb.
Right.
Like, Elon Musk just announced a car that kills people. That also doesn't work. Like, you don't need to invent things. Just talk about the way they actually treat their employees and the cities that host them.
You don't need a scene where they're being like, oh, they're so misogynist and they're not listening to women because
they're telling women to smile.
Yeah, they're telling women to smile and they're not listening for no reason, even though she's telling him about a thing that's going to kill people. It's like, well, I mean, like, that does happen in real life, but it's different, where, like, Mark Zuckerberg just doesn't listen to anybody who tells him, hey, inflating video view statistics is going to put people out of jobs. Like, he doesn't fucking care.
He doesn't care. He's just like, wait a second, hold on. How much money does it make me, though?
Which, like, is almost sounds like...
We're converting jobs into cash.
Almost sounds like that's a point in the film's favor, but it's kind of just like it just feels too cartoony, and it just feels too disconnected.
It feels just like it's the historic thing of just like where movies will have, they can't critique capitalism, so they'll have the bad capitalists.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it's become the thing where it's like techies, usually specific ones that are in the news, become the blueprint for the bad capitalists, but it's always framed in the way where there's an implicit thing where it's like, oh, but you know, if they were like running things the way they should be running, you know, if they listen to if they listen to women,
it's like,
because like that's a bit they do where it's like, oh, all the women have this thing where it's like, we tried to go through bureaucracy, but we were dismissed because we were women, and it's like, no, you were dismissed because you got in the way of the profit motive.
Yeah, you were dismissed because the system is broken.
Yeah,
and incentivizes women to not be listened to, or incentivizes men specifically to not listen to women
and to not listen to anyone.
And
who gets in the way.
Anybody.
But it's like, you can't establish that one of your characters worked for MI6, who helped cover up Epstein. More Epstein brains. I'm sorry. It was like the line where they say that one of the guys like, "Oh, you were MI6." I liked what.
All right, ladies, time to start the Iran-Contra affair.
That's like. Me and Robbie on our drive back were doing like exactly that. Just like, all right, Angels, your most important mission yet. We're dispatching you. We're dispatching you to Syria. We got an election we need you to interrupt.
All right, ladies, how about a trip to the jungles of Venezuela? Beach trip.
Beach trip. Woo! Destabilize a democracy.
Woo! Yes, girls, get it. Yeah, that's kind of rough. I will also say, the assassin in this movie is like kind of all right, kind of hot, nice tattoos.
I like his tattoos.
He does an okay job, but I think that to get on my like very minor soapbox, I don't think anybody's gonna top Vlad Ivanov in Snowpiercer as the ultimate scary henchman.
I can't wait to watch. I still need to watch Snowpiercer.
Oh. There's a scary henchman in that movie, and if
my heart's a flutter.
if I point him out within the first 5 minutes, you'll be like, that guy's not scary.
I love those. I love those kinds of henchmen,
because that's what I thought when I watched Snowpiercer. I was like, oh, this is what a goofy looking guy. Who's he scaring?
Actually,
and then the movie happens.
That reminds me, the big shootout that happens in the cafe. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, they hired like a professional to kill her. And I'm like, if they hired a professional to kill her, they're not getting their money's worth. Like, not because he didn't kill her. Why would the way he kills her is, I'm gonna shoot her in the middle of a cafe,
a crowded ass cafe,
something which 100% is gonna raise more questions when what you're trying to do is stop questions from being asked.
I will say it was very fucking hilarious that he was typing on a typewriter with a mirror screen
to watch her,
and she like looks at what he's typing and it's just key mashing.
He's writing he's a bottom and he's writing a letter to his top overseas.
Shut the fuck up. I wanted that also to be the bit in Dr. Sleep where she looks at the all work and no play with Jack's adult boy and it's just key mashing.
Just key mashing. Key mashing, and then there's a single now and later telegram sticker for some reason.
Yeah, you know, if your typewriter doesn't have now and later stickers on it, like then you, what did you pay for?
I mean, that furry who shot 2 cops has now and later stickers.
We're gonna talk about that. Huh?
We don't have to.
We're gonna talk about.
I just think that's really funny,
Mr. Lion.
All right, ladies. Here's your target, Simba Lion.
All right, girls. All right, angels. We gotta take out this Mendocino home.
Kristen, we want you to infiltrate, dressed as a pesticide guy.
What if the Charlie's Angels like get put on like swatting missions?
They do. Yeah. Like that's why, like when they said MI6, I was like, you know, this movie is essentially about mercenaries for hire.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with setting them against like the tech giants is that like, okay, but I know what this is.
Still capitalism.
This is you are a private military firm.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
you can't be like, wow, those capitalists are real bad, huh?
Listen,
those tech guys, I swear.
I'm a little older, I'm a little wiser. The spy shooty gun thing doesn't really work for me the same way anymore. Just like where are your allegiances? I do want a sequel though. Where they are just like a SWAT team service that like just kills gamers. And then like they keep getting it wrong because someone keeps making them SWAT innocent people, but they just don't care because it's still gamers and none of them are innocent. I think. Thanks for listening, by the way.
I think honestly, I think that's probably the biggest. I like the idea that they're being swatted to the wrong house, but the house is still a gamer house somehow every time.
Well, yeah, no, that's like the thing. Like gamers who stream,
they're
not pieces of shit are still getting swatted, but they're all pieces of shit.
Yeah, because they're streaming.
Because you're
Ninja, you're next. But yeah, it's. I think that's part of the reason why the weird like pop feminist messaging that's super. The problem with it is just that it's super heavy-handed and executed clearly by someone who doesn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why it makes it feel so weird is because when you deploy that, you kind of like start peeling off the plausible deniability of like this being a movie. Yeah. And you start introducing like, well, what are the corollaries to this in the real world? Well, all right, the tech guy, Elon Musk. All right, so the angels, private, not overseen by the government, very secretive, expensive. Oh, they're private military contractors.
Oh, it's some Metal Gear shit.
Yeah. Oh, it's Blackwater, but for girls.
Oh my god.
It's Babe Water.
Excuse me.
Also, they do WikiLeaks stuff in this movie, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I wasn't sure. I wasn't really sure what the point of them being like. Oh, you're gonna be a whistleblower for this, so yeah, you should come to us, the military firm,
the private military.
Exactly who I want the people to. You could just send a file to WikiLeaks.
Just the people who work on contracts, no big deal. That's like who you can trust, right?
Yeah. Oh, you got me the design documents to make a weapon that kills someone. Yeah, that sounds. You said it's on the flash drive, right? Which folder? And then they drop it in the lake anyway.
God, I was gonna say I want Kojima to direct a Charlie's Angels movie, and I do, but I don't.
I want him to direct. I want him to direct the Charlie's Angels tie-in game.
Yeah. Oh my god. Imagine if they still did that. How much money went into
producing? Still do stuff like that? Oh, I don't think. I feel like there has to be like new movies that have had
just like shitty
tie-in games, but maybe not, because I can't actually think of any that I've seen in a while.
Well, yeah, because like it seems like there's like a way, we're in a console generation now that's like it seems like a higher sort of
investment.
Barrier.
You can't just like crank it out.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't just make a bullshit PS2 game that's like a puzzle connection Tetris thing or whatever.
Yeah, no, I guess they stopped. I'm looking at a thing right now from 2017 where it's like somebody's like, hey, what happened to all those video games based on movies? I also feel like maybe the turnaround time on like movies versus games has like there's been a valley that it's opened up on that.
Right.
Because I feel like that was it. Is like the game would start to be developed probably around like post production for the movies, but maybe post production times have like shortened enough on films that they can't really do that.
If you want to make a game that stands up in the market at this point, you have to start it like
10 years
a year before you start casting for the movie.
Yeah,
at the very least. Yeah. Well, can someone send us Charlie's Angels for the GameCube? I would really appreciate it.
I'd play it. We should. We've actually debated doing streams where we just play bad movie tie-in games.
Oh yeah.
Because I own a lot.
Yeah, I have a couple. I really want to play the King Kong game because it's allegedly like all right.
You know what's funny? I played the King Kong tie-in game, but for a mobile phone.
Oh God!
Yeah.
How is that?
Probably a lot better than most mobile phone games were, but still not great.
All right. Well,
it was a flip phone.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I've heard the Kong games actually surprisingly really good, like the Peter Jackson Kong one, right?
Yeah, Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. I should say the full title. Really.
You really can't like disrespect the game. It's like calling Silent Hill silent.
It's like calling Silent Hill Silent Hills.
Is there even a Frozen tie-in game? Oh, you know what it is? It's because our modern version of that is like Elsa Dentist Adventure.
Yeah, that's true. It goes up on the App Store and makes $1 million, $20 million.
It's 100% that it's because mobile apps, because you can crank those out, and like children who have access to an iPhone will just buy it, and because Apple just lets you do that. Apple just lets you make it. Apple just lets you put out games where like you can have like here little Billy play this video game. Oh, there's a button in it that charges my card $5. Oh, and you can just push it as many times as you want. You
can just mash it a bunch of times.
And in return, Elsa will say, "You're my best friend, Bobby."
No, I'm sorry. It's Esla. It's not.
Oh, like the car.
No. Elsa's from a Disney movie. We're not associated with.
Oh, right.
We're not associated with that company. We don't know anything about them.
No,
this is our character Esla.
This is our original character Esla.
Esla Freezing.
Esla. Esla Frozeburn.
That's a real Kojima character.
I was like, I think I just actually wrote a Kojima character.
Frozen 3, directed by Kojima. Hi, my name's Cold Freezeburn.
Hi, my name's Ice Pop.
My name's Snow Man Boy.
Hi, I'm Sister Issues.
My name's Build Snowman.
I don't know who I should go out with. Love interest or red herring? One of my favorite stories was I'd read a book about like the that indie scene. Like the indie film scene, and about how stoked the studio was that Kaufman had gotten Cameron Diaz to play the girl in it, because they're like, Charlie's Angels just came out, she's really hot right now. There's something about Mary just came out, or no, there's something about Mary, she's really hot right now. And then they got like the first footage back, and Cameron Diaz does not look like Cameron Diaz in that film. Wow. I don't know if you've seen Being John Malkovich in a while, because she's supposed to be like a very homely, like poor like girl, so she has like fake, like I feel like if I remember, she has like fake acne on and stuff. Her hair is like really long and shitty. Like she barely looks like Cameron Diaz. Like it's obviously still Cameron Diaz, but like this was when Cameron Diaz was like, the hot it girl, and this is like not a hot it girl.
Oh my god, she looks so different that I didn't recognize her in the movie when I watched Being John Malkovich.
It's like she has like, you can see it in her face, but it's like she has like that stuff on her face to make it look like she's kind of like got rashy. Like she looks nothing like Cameron Diaz, and specifically she looks very homely, and the studio was pissed. They were so mad at Charlie Kaufman for that.
Bro. I mean,
she gives a great performance in that movie, too.
Yeah, that movie fucking rules. We love Spike Jonze, even though we hate her. Not Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, no, we hate her.
We love Cameron Diaz. We hate her.
If you're not on our Patreon, if you
we did talk about
if you donate to our Patreon, we talk about the movie Her. We talk about how Spike Jonze is epic divorce man.
Yeah. But in any case, I guess with regard to Charlie's Angels, what would you rather have spent your ticket price on?
Not the Charlie's Angels like GameCube game, because that's probably like a $5 purchase. Maybe like that and like a replacement controller, because I think mine for my GameCube is kind of like, I think one of the toggle sticks is a little busted.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I would play it, and then I could play the shitty game for like an hour and get mad.
Yeah. I would rather have a copy of 007 Nightfire for the GameCube, because that game is Nightfire. Nice. It's basically GoldenEye for the GameCube. It's not that great, but it's cool. The multiplayer is really cool. Just has that basically split screen local multiplayer experience.
When are they gonna make they should make like an all-feminist reboot. all-feminist reboot of GoldenEye for the N64.
Yeah, so like John Green. Will Wheaton, fucking... Who's Amanda Palmer married to?
Neil Gaiman. Amanda Palmer can be in it as well.
They should make a Charlie's Angels where it's all, like, famous guys who get pegged.
I thought you were going to say they should make it Charlie's Angels, but it's, like, Amanda Palmer.
Yeah! Amanda Palmer... Is she a Charlie's Angel?
They should have had her as a cameo in that movie.
Yeah.
Playing herself, and that's why she's stalking that music journalist.
Oh,
it's for a mission. And not because Amanda Palmer is like a rich, deranged person who's just allowed to do whatever the fuck she wants, I guess.
Amanda Palmer rappelling into a reviewer's house.
to fucking pull her Jenny Schechter ass.
Amanda Palmer is literally Jenny Schechter.
She's literally doing that Jenny Schechter plotline.
Like, why don't you love me?
Where Jenny Schechter is stalking a journalist who gave her book a bad review.
Oh my god.
We have fun here.
The L Word predicted Amanda Palmer. I would have rather spent my money on the L Word.
No, what are you glad you spent your money on?
Oh, what am I glad I didn't spend my money?
Because you said the video game.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Well, I'm glad I didn't spend my money on Amanda Palmer's new album.
Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a really good choice. I guess I'm glad I didn't spend my money on shit. What? Because I was gonna make a joke about like the Girl Ghostbusters remake, but I was like, honestly, even that was better than Charlie's Angels.
You think so? I kind of feel the opposite.
Actually, you know what? No, I think it's just because the Charlie's Angels is fresher. Because like I was like, yeah, but I could rewatch the Ghostbusters, and then I thought about it. I was like, I could not rewatch the Ghostbusters remake. It's really bad. This one has Kristen Stewart delivers on what Kate McLennan only teased upon.
Yeah. Kristen Stewart is really living that life.
I can't wait. You know what? I mean, I cannot wait to go see Undertale. The movie that's just going to be Kristen Stewart playing Ripley, but underwater and in a bad movie.
Yeah, they're making a lot of those now. Just Alien, but bad. Home was like that.
Yeah, I know. People want another Alien. But people don't want to put in the effort to make another Alien.
Yeah, the thing about... Here's the thing. If you want to make another Alien, think about what made Alien cool, and then make a new thing that is cool.
Instead of just being like, well, this worked in Alien, so it'll probably work in this.
Yeah.
And it won't. because it's a different movie.
Why did it work in Alien? You know?
What we're saying is that you need to have more monsters that look like penises.
Yes.
That's the only thing that made Alien good.
Absolutely.
I'm really hoping Hollywood executives are listening. Hollywood executives don't listen. I'm really hoping they're listening so that they take this advice, because I think it'd be really funny.
Just make everything look
Hollywood
like a dick.
executives, you can listen now.
Make everything look like a dick or a pussy.
Yeah.
Like
that's all people want.
That's
why Alien vs. Predator was so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a dick and a pussy fighting.
Who's gonna win in a fight, dick or pussy?
That's what Charlie's Angels is about, I guess. I don't know.
All right, my bet's on pussy.
Yeah. Pussy power.
Pussy power.
I didn't answer the question. Cause there's a lot. Charlie's Angels was not very fun. I guess Taco Time is my go-to answer usually.
You know.
There's very rare. A movie has to be really bad for me to be like, I wish I ate Taco Time instead.
Yeah. It's not good, but if you just turn your fucking brain off.
I figured it out. I'm glad I didn't spend my money on sending money so that the Israeli Defense Force can have a pizza, because that is a thing that is a thing you can do online.
Wow.
It's like idfpizza.org or something. You can buy them pizza.
Hey, that's really fucking disgusting, and I hate the world.
Yeah. Anyway, for some reason that reminded me of Charlie's Angels.
Just gotta munch on a quick slice of mushroom and pineapple while I shoot someone for living where they live.
Well, it's just very stressful. People will throw bottles and not hit me.
Oh, people will throw bombs that don't work and miss. So we have to go into their village with all of the funding that America can give for like 1 million automatic weapons
for all of the drugs that we have sold.
Yeah.
to other countries.
Fuck the fucking IDF.
Fuck
Fuck Wonder Woman.
It's God. There's the connection. That's where my brain was at. It was like, oh yeah, because Wonder Woman was in the IDF. Weird, she didn't have a cameo in this one. She must have been busy. Was there any was there any bank side firefights recently?
Any Palestinians to kill? All of
them. Gal Gadot,
all of them. It looks like
Gal Gadot when she sees a Palestinian.
Takes out that golden whip. So,
anyway,
thanks for listening.
Yeah, sorry both of these movies were not really great.
No, they were very good.
Which kind of broke our brains, as you could tell.
Movies aren't good.
We have been using a therapy light this entire time though, so we feel great. I feel
fine. My vitamin D is back to normal. I'm regulated. I'm emotionally regulated.
I was reading it. It puts chemicals in your eyes that help you sleep better and feel more alert in the morning.
I believe it. I'll believe anything.
Fuck it, I'll believe anything.
I'll believe anything anybody tells me.
Yeah, that's what it says in the box, and they can't lie. It's not FDA regulated, but they can't lie. Listen, this was recommended to me by the New York Times. The same people.
They know everything.
Yeah, except apparently how Epstein killed himself.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Join us on Patreon, where we have exclusive previews. We're putting this one up 3 days early for our patrons, so if you're not a patron, you're 3 days late.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Everyone else has already moved on. The call-out posts have already been written.
God. Everyone else is listening to our Frozen 2 episode. We're not going to do a Frozen 1.
Probably not. Well, we might. I don't know.
I didn't watch the first one.
There's too many movies that I want to see, and also movies that we should talk about, because I also want to see Knives Out and Honey Boy.
Knives Out I'm excited about it. Kind of. Honey Boy, whatever. I'll watch it.
Knives Out, I was like, but like everyone is saying it's really good, so I'm really excited to see it.
I want Clue 2. Clue 2.
Clue 2.
Gimme!
Again, it's the movie where it's like when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, even if this movie sucks, if this movie's just these actors having fun, I'm in. I love these actors.
Yeah, Toni Collette, fuck yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Lakeith
Stanfield, yeah.
Stanfield, okay.
Lakeith Stanfield, fucking great. Love all of them, and thanks so much. All right. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
I am Baru.
I am G.A. Bearhat.
Bye.
Bye.